Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed 5-minute podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
It's the I'm Wired to Inspire Mentor from Afar with Nicole, the inspiration specialist.
I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. Number one in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Secondly, in your life's blueprint, you must have, as a basic principle, the determination to achieve excellence in your various fields of endeavor. You're going to be deciding as the days and the years unfold what you will do in life, what your life's work will be. And once you discover what it will be, set out to do it and to do it well. And when you discover what you're going to be in life, set out to do it as if God Almighty called you at this particular moment in history to do it. You can't be a pine on the top of the hill, be a scrub in the valley. But be the best little scrub on the side of the rill. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are.
So what you just heard was a speech from Martin Luther King Jr. at Barrett Junior High School in Philadelphia on October 26, 1967. And he delivered the speech, What is your life's blueprint? You know, y'all, it's so interesting because I mentioned before that I had gotten the names like months ago of the different people that I was going to talk about. And one of the things that I'm really feeling led and called to do with these Mentor from Afar is to tell people about people that they may not have heard of, but also to show them how people from all walks of life you can relate to, and you can still find God in whatever those things are for you. Now, if you are not familiar with my podcast, I am called to wire you and inspire you to live your authentic purpose. And if you are already living with purpose, my job is to add value to what you already have and to keep building on that. So, you know, Martin Luther King, again, y'all, that is Black history. You know what I'm saying? It's February. It's kind of cliche. Everybody uses Martin Luther King. But for me, I was like, God, I have to find something that is rare, something that people don't really talk about that he has spoken of before, because y'all, he's a world renowned speaker. You know, most people know that he, you know, was a Baptist preacher, but he is a speaker, and the way he speaks and his eloquence, and, you know, just kind of going through and studying, because y'all, I have to study for these mentors from afar. I don't like to just give you anything, and just doing my research and reading and everything. And, you know, it's just really interesting, some of the stuff that I've overlooked about him over the years. But I really recognized in solidifying what I wanted to share with you guys that this man was a giant. He was a giant amongst men. True that. And I say that with no qualms. I believe that. And, you know, I always say to you guys, you know, nobody's, we're not better than anybody. We're just different. And that was his difference. You know, Devon Franklin talks a lot about your difference. And when I think about that, I believe this is his difference, because he was really a giant and for multiple reasons. But for reasons that stuck out to me was just simple things like, he was about solutions. He wanted to get things done. He wasn't just a person that talked about problems. He took action and he did something about it. Another thing that made me think of him as a giant, even a titan, was that, you know, he was bold. And the things that this man was speaking about in 1967, I literally played it today in 2018. And there's not a person on here that will hear this that cannot identify with what he's talking about, because not only was it general for anyone to receive, but it was extremely specific for you and where you are, because you can take what he said and you can make it your own. So for me, listening to this and hearing him from another vantage point other than the I have a dream speech, it really blessed me, because it was another confirmation for me. So I like to share these little stories with you guys too. So let me tell you, for the last 2 weeks, the word blueprint has been coming up for me. Okay. And it has been in the most peculiar, the most bizarre ways. But the word blueprint keeps coming up. So 2 weeks ago when it started, I saw it maybe 3 times within 24 hours. And I was like, oh, man. And whenever I see things repetitively, I always start to pay attention, because I never know, you know, if God is trying to tell me something, or if I'm missing something, overlooking something, whatever the case may be. It started to stick out. So, guys, we roll into this week, right? And I start seeing blueprint everywhere, just everywhere. So, you know, I was praying. I was like, okay, God, I don't know what I want to talk about with MLK, but I know that it has to be something dope. And I don't want to do the run in the mill, everything everybody always hears about him. I don't want to talk about that this time. It has to be more to him than that. And what we know about him is so ginormous and so big. It's not diminishing that at all. But I'm like, yo, this man cannot have been a giant like this and not have been multifaceted and multi-layered. There has to be more. And just like I thought, I found it. So when I started researching pieces and listening to some of his speeches, and I happened upon the blueprint, I knew right then that was my confirmation. God was telling me, you need to talk about the blueprint, and you need to really zero in on some of the things he talked about. So that brought me to, you know, just really thinking, I'm like, okay, so what is it? What do the people need to hear? What is it, God, that you are dropping in my spirit to share with someone who is most in need of it? Because somebody is going to come to this podcast and they're going to be seeking something. And I'm like, okay, God, if it's my responsibility to drop that for them, then please give it to me. And I want to operate in excellence when I do it. I don't want to be fleshy. I want to make sure that I'm really leaving the mark that you want me to leave for them. Because I know if someone is seeking God and God is setting, you know, if God is setting you up to be a blessing to somebody, or setting you up to do a job for him so that his child can make it to the next level, or so that they can sleep at night, they can get the peace in their spirit that they need, then I have to make sure I'm on my job. Because that's a part of my authenticity, just like you have your own. And a part of really cultivating your authenticity, much like Dr. King, is your obedience. And if you listen to his speeches, y'all, you just see his trajectory over the years and how he had grown deeper and deeper as an authentic human being and really believing what it was about for him. It really is a game changer, because he was consistent, you know. So I was thinking about all those things, and I said, okay, Lord, I said, so we're going to talk about the blueprint. But where do I start? So the first thing, I'm a wordsmith. I love words. I love superior vernaculars. This is a thing about me. It's a quirk about me. So with him, if you listen to anything he says, the way he enunciates and articulates, he always uses all types of words. And he said some words, y'all, and something I heard today. And I was like, what? I had never heard of it before. And I just cracked up laughing. I was like, my God, I think it would probably do me a great service if I just listen to some of these and just get some word lessons and just get some more information on how to navigate through this thing. Because y'all, he had great foresight. A lot of the stuff he talked about in the 60s is happening right now. That speech, the blueprint, because I only gave you guys a portion of it because it's approximately 20 minutes long, give or take a minute or two. But I only gave you guys roughly 3 minutes of it because that was the meat and potatoes of it. So in essence, I pretty much took the meat and I threw out the bone because I wanted you guys to understand that the points that he made are the points that I know when I have kids, they can still listen to that and it will be of great value to them as well. So again, the adults listening right now, those of you who are in that particular place and you're like, okay, God, I know I'm supposed to be doing something. I'm trying to be obedient. I'm sick of my job. These people driving me crazy. I know I have a purpose. I want to launch this business. I want to launch this ministry. I want to be a better father, better mother, better sibling. You're just contemplating all of the different things that life can bring you, right? So the first thing he said was own your somebodyness. Now, technically in the dictionary, that's not a real word, but it's a real word for me, and I will be using it in the future. But he said to own your somebodyness. Okay? He really began to talk about how you should not let anyone make you feel worthless because you count. Right? Who is listening to this right now and you are struggling with that? You can be a person who the world may think you have it together and you believe in your own quote unquote somebodyness, but when they're not looking, you're struggling. Or could you be a person who you've never felt that you counted for anything and you're still just trying to find your way? Or could you be a person who's just getting started in life? Could you be somebody in college or someone who maybe have never gone to college and you're just at a season in your life and you say, I don't really know who I am. I don't know the somebody that I'm called to be. I don't get it. Here is a very beautiful, sobering thing about that thought. As long as you understand where you are now is temporary, you will never forget that you count. I want you to think about that. The problem with being in a position of questioning your worth and questioning if you matter is that whatever you are focusing on right now, it is typically designed to keep you from remembering that you are worthy and that you are worth something for someone or something at this particular time. But your focus and your energy is on something else. And the thing that is so wonderful about God as well is that God has this thing about him where no matter what you do or where you are, he never changes. And it's omnipresence and it's being omniscient and omnipotent and all of these things. He's always the same OG. He is always God. And that's to our benefit, because when we get in these situations where we question our worth and we question if we count, he never does. And if you're going to catch a wave and ride a wave, that's the one to ride, because that one will never stop. Because the thing that I noticed about Dr. King and everything I listened to concerning him, number one, he had passion. But number two, even in the environment that he was in, if he was in a hostile environment or if he was in a welcoming environment, he knew whether they liked him or not. He counted for something. He knew that. And that is something I want you to think about. And again, you know what's dope about having an opportunity to just kind of be quiet and really think about these things when you get a moment is that you can be honest with yourself. There's one thing I hope you know when you listen to this podcast. I want you to be honest with yourself when nobody else is looking. Because the truth of the matter is, if you are somebody who is in a position of power where people look up to you and people come to you for things, you could be someone in school and you can be the person that's on the SGA, or you in your sorority, your fraternity, whatever it is. You can be top of your class. When all eyes are on you, sometimes we look at ourselves through the filter of other people. And if we let them down or we let ourselves down, we begin to take on the lie that we don't count for much anymore because we've let someone else down. And that's just a lie sent from the pits of hell, because the enemy has designed that and orchestrated that to keep you off your game, to keep you off your focus. You have to keep the main thing, and you don't have an option to do anything else. This is just, and I've been saying this, y'all, for weeks. This is not the time to act as if you don't belong and to act as if you do not count. This is not the time for that. And what really inspired me was, not only was he speaking on it, but he was living it. And that's typically hard to do. There are a lot of times when, we are faced with things and we don't really know how to navigate through, because we get stuck on the part with not being perfect. We get stuck on the part of feeling like, you know what, man, I can't do this. I don't have everything together like I need it to be. Man, this is not going to count for much. And you know what, y'all? It could be that one person who needs what you have. They're trying to buy what you're selling, but you're too afraid to put it out there because you believe you don't count. You don't own your own somebodyness, and you're allowing someone else to play around with who you are as a person. And even if you are the strongest, you are the strongest of men. You are the most, the jazziest of women. Whatever you are, whoever you may be, there can always come a time where the enemy can try to test and try that in you. Because when everything is not perfect, that's when he tries to come in and make you question who you are and and whose you are. That is the prime time for that. So anybody who is listening to this right now, and that is where you are feeling, let me help you out and give you a confirmation. That is temporary. And in order for you to change your mind about how much you count, or if you are of value, or if you are a person who can do what God has called you to do, in order for you to successfully do that, you have to be the one to change it. So I'm telling you right now, maybe you already know this. Maybe God has already confirmed it. Maybe he wants to give you someone so you can hear it out loud, play it back to you. You have to make the choice to change. Nobody can give you what God can give you, and nobody can give you what he put inside of you already. So if you are seeking outside of yourself to get validity, that is not going to work. It is going to fall flat, and you will be at the hand of your own destruction. The devil is a liar. And trust me when I tell you, MLK was consistent throughout with this. That is a part of the blueprint of your life. That is the first step in the blueprint of your life. So trust me when I tell you, you can't even get to determination and achieving excellence if you don't think you count. Because sometimes you're the only one that's going to believe you count. But guess what? Sometimes that's all you need. And believe it or not, every time that's all you need. Because guess what? It might be the day you choose to believe in yourself and nobody else believes in you. And then someone else is going to say, well, you know what? They believe. So let me see what's up. So that's why you should never count yourself out, and you should always put yourself in a position of power. You use your power to say, you know what, I count. And even though I might not believe it all the way, I'm going to go ahead and just shoot my shot and say, I got this. And if the chips fall, let the chips fall where they may. But guess what? The chips are not going to fall or crumble unless I put myself in a position to take action, unless I put myself in a position to believe that I'm good enough to at least give it a shot. So I don't know who needed to hear that, but you need to understand something. If you are going to complete the blueprint, if you are going to build the house that is based upon the blueprint, you at least have to know going in on your worst day and your best day, you still got this. You are still of worth. And you still count. Now that leads me to the second point that I want to speak of that Dr. King spoke on, and it is the determination to achieve excellence. If you can understand that you have to focus on operating in excellence versus perfection, you will get a lot more done. I was just speaking to one of my girlfriends earlier today, and we were talking about how, I gave her like a little pep talk, I guess, a few weeks ago. And it was a whole bunch of stuff she wanted to do. And I was like, sis, listen, all you got to do is just do it. Like, you may not have the setup you think you need, but you just have to jump out there and handle your business because people need you. Because if you don't do it, they'll never know. And you'll never complete the assignment that God has given you. And I said, you just need to be determined. You need to really be determined that you're going to do whatever this thing is. And yes, you're a perfectionist. And yes, you want things to be, just so. But maybe God is trying to push this on you right now because he wants you to know that he is the only perfect being. And if you're stopping your gift, if you are halting your gift, if you are halting your purpose because you don't have all the T's dotted and all the I's crossed, somebody who needs you can miss their moment because we're all connected. All of us have to be obedient. And sure, God will send someone else, but there is something about God nudging you and saying, hey, I need you to do that. Y'all, there is nothing more fulfilling than being obedient to what God is telling you to do. And you see the manifestation of the miracle and blessing because you did what he told you to do. That is a beautiful, incredible feeling. And when you are focused on being a perfectionist versus operating in excellence, you miss those moments. So to the person who's saying, man, my little design don't look right. I'm not ready to put that out yet. Or, it's not what I think it should be. I think I need to have this background before I do a video. Man, I think I need to have this kind of phone before I do this. I think I need to have this, and this. If that is you, this is your message right here. Take it from Dr. King, and I'm co-signing on him. In order for you to operate in excellence, in order for you to have that determination, you cannot let imperfection or trying to be perfect stop you from getting the job done. Do not let that be skewed. I do not know who needs this, but I feel like somebody needs this. After you finish listening to this today, go and handle your business and put it out there. Now, I'm not talking about being sloppy. I'm not talking about just going willy-nilly and not checking on your stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some things that you can do and it's still going to look nice. You're still going to be of a great standard, but the enemy has you focusing on these details. They say the devil is in the details. He got you all in them details to the point where you're missing your blessing. Because let me tell you something, when you put this thing out and you bless other people, then blessings and miracles are going to come to you as well. And he's holding that up, but you can't see it. And that's why I'm here to encourage you and to let you know you have to move past that. You have to move beyond that because you don't want to delay any longer the thing that God has for you. The third and final thing I want to tell you before we roll out on today's Mentor from Afar. Dr. King basically said, no matter what it is that you do, you need to handle your business and kill it. Let me say that again. Whatever you do, kill it. He said, if you're the bush, be the best little bush. If you're the tree, be the dopest tree. The Bible talks about not despising your small beginnings. And when I get a chance to give you guys my testimony as this thing rolls out, you're going to see why you should never discredit where you are. It might not be at the top where you think you should be right now. Everybody else might be passing you up. It might look like everything is popping for everybody else, but just little old you consistent, you doing what you're supposed to be doing. Ain't nobody checking for you right now. And you're starting to question your ability. You're starting to question if you're good enough. You're starting to feel like, man, I don't think I have what it takes because you're too busy looking at somebody else through the wrong filter. Let me help you out. If you are in that position where you're trying to work on that little thing that you have going on, you need to kill it. It might not be at the top for a reason because God may make it where he'll hide you for this season. He'll have you working on that thing that's looking like nothing. And boom, all of a sudden it's on and popping. And it's because you took that little thing and you handled your business. The Bible also talks about if you are faithful with little, he will give you much. So some of you, please be encouraged and understand something. You have to take where you are and kill it. For those of you on that job you hate, maybe you can't stand those people. But I'm going to tell you something my daddy taught me. My daddy worked at the post office for years. He retired post office and military. He combined the two, okay? And one of the things he told me around the time he retired, he said, you know what? A lot of them don't like me at the post office. He said, but they doggone sure respect me. You know why they respected him? Because he killed at his job. He did an incredible job. And even though they did not like him, they always called him for overtime. In fact, they would call him skipping over their partners because they knew he would do the best job. He wasn't concerned about doing it like other people. That wasn't the type of, he didn't care about that. He's like, listen, I'm not a supervisor. I'm not doing this and I'm not doing that. But what I am doing, they can't ever say I don't do my job in excellence because that's what I do. And you know what the proof was, guys? Every time Christmas came, or even his birthday sometimes, he had tons of presents. You know, and I know people typically, a lot of people give their mailman's presents and stuff, you know, for the holidays, but he always had buku stuff. And that's a testament because the people always consistently said how kind he was. And if you know my daddy, y'all, he humbuggish sometimes, you know, but when it came down to that, that's a life lesson I learned. He said, listen, people don't ever have to like you. Don't get caught up in people liking you, Robin. But people have to respect you. When you do your work and you put yourself out there, they can hate your guts, but that's their business. That's not your business if they don't like you. But it is your business to make sure if you're responsible for a job, you need to handle your business when you do that job. And this is the same thing Dr. King was talking about. Whatever the case may be for you, whatever level you are on, please do not play yourself getting caught up in people not liking you. And now they could add to it. Well, we don't like her because she don't even do her work anyway. We already just didn't like him. Whatever. They do sloppy stuff anyway. No. Because let me tell you something. See how the Bible says your enemies will be your footstools? You'll mess around and do your job on the optimum level and they try to give you a little piece of the pie and you'll end up taking the whole pie. Because when everything else goes crazy, they know that you're the one that they can trust. So that's why you have to make sure everything that he said when this comes to this blueprint in your life, you have to make sure that you put yourself again. I will say it again, in a position of power. And how do you put yourself in a position of power? Dr. King said it best. You have to have these 3 elements to your blueprint. First, you must believe in your own somebodyness. You have to know that you count. Second, you have to operate in excellence. Don't be so concerned about perfection. Focus on determination and excellence. And lastly, whatever you do it well. Make sure whoever you are and whatever God called you to do, you need to kill it. Handle your business. They may not like you, but they got to respect you. God bless you, Dr. King. He was an incredible mentor from afar. And I pray that you got something out of this today. I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to the inspirationspecialist.life or I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again and see you next time.